Good morning, and today is shoulder day because I wanted to make another video today, and that means it's falling on shoulder day as opposed to any other day, but I will get a back video this coming Wednesday, hopefully, if I remember to. Anyway, so outside of that, there's not really much going on. I do have ministry tonight, and gonna have to go out and get some food at some point because we're running low on it, so I have to restock my groceries. Don't want to get anything too fattening today. But not much on the plate for today, just a little bit of training and some church. Should be fun. But anyways, let's finish making this pre-workout and let's get our butts to the gym. First, I snuck to the health store to grab a little matcha and then started my day off with some cardio. And today I wanted to talk about my favorite YouTube channels. Now, there are quite a lot to choose from, as I think everyone loves YouTube, as YouTube has basically become its own TV channel or streaming service at this point with how much content is on there. But there are definitely a few YouTubers or channels that I prefer the most out of all of them. And if you know my taste, I'm obviously into very, very nerdy stuff. So the one I have to bring up first is Red Letter Media. The reason I like them is actually more their best of the worst series, where they're just kind of watching either really obscure movies or they're doing their Wheel of the West and watching these really bonkers gonzo tapes that people just randomly send to them. And they can either be, boring educational videos, or they're like the most out there smeg you have ever seen in your life. And if it wasn't for Red Letter Media, I would have no idea what these things are. Then there's Brutal Moose. Now, doesn't really do as many nerdy videos anymore. He mostly does what he calls brutal foods, where he reviews, frozen dinners, annual snacks, things like that, which is actually pretty fun, even though I do miss his older videos when he would talk about a video game or a movie. The movie reviews, they always tend to be as like a guest thing, but he's a great editor, and that's kind of why I love watching his videos, no matter if it's a video game review or a food review, because he is just a quality YouTuber. And if you haven't checked him out yet, definitely give him a look up. Brutal Moose. When it comes to the lost media stuff I like to watch, the main source of that is a guy named Blame It on George. He's very, very good at keeping track of that stuff. He does the either stuff that's still lost or recently found, and that's the main reason I watch him. Definitely give him a look if you haven't yet. Not much to say, just that he's really good at documenting what is and isn't found. And Magic Mush, he's still relatively new, but he does deep dives into the types of YouTubers or YouTube content that I love. And honestly, whenever he posts a new video, he doesn't post overly regularly or anything like that, but he is very consistent, at least a couple times a month, if I remember his scheduling. But he's just so much fun to watch, and I can't take my eyes off of whenever I see a new video of his. It's like an immediate play. And then there's this guy who's still on the rise. His name is Jason Graves, very much Angry Video Game Nerd inspired, and that's my favorite YouTuber actually. But Jason Graves is a good modern interpretation of it. Look him up. And after the gym, I quickly ran to the store to get some honey peanut butter because that stuff's pretty tasty, and some cookie dough for church tonight, as well as a kombucha. And now I am finally home, at least for now, because like I said, I do have to do ministry today. Well, I don't have to, but it is an important part of the week. Always have to make sure you're properly up with God. Drinking my matcha right now because matcha is a very healthy form of caffeine. At least that's what I've been told. I haven't done enough research into matcha in and of itself to know its health benefits. Apparently it's really good for the gut. And I'm also making those cookies for ministry as well, because the reason I'm eating a little bit of junk now is because I plan on going full send back into diet mode. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean I'm going to be doing harsh dieting where, like you barely eat anything. It's just basically like a watermelon fast, things like that. No, but getting back into eating much more lean meats, some high quality carbs, things like that. Going to cut out a lot more junk food because I've been indulging a little bit too much in that. And I'm not really proud of that because I don't like bulking. I think bulking is kind of gross, at least for me, even though sometimes it does help you get a little bit bigger of a pump. And you do get to eat a lot of really, really fun food when you do it. But I don't like bulking. Like I said, I feel gross if I ever do it, which is like why people always ask, why don't you bulk more? It's because I don't like it. I feel gross. I'd rather be lean and athletic than big and bulky. Now, obviously, I can put on a lot more size if I bulk more, but I'd rather do what Coach Greg says and main gain and not, get overly huge and then have to cut all of it down become competition season, because I didn't compete this year like I said I was going to do, but next year, if I plan everything correctly and if I do everything well, I should be able to compete next year around the time I intended to this year. Just this year got way more ahead of me than I was anticipating, but it's like that sometimes. Anyway, I gotta really drink this matcha. I didn't even add any creamer to this. This is just the matcha. It's not actually, here's the thing, it doesn't actually taste bad at all. I'm actually really enjoying it, but like I said, I gotta finish my matcha. I gotta sit down, get ready for ministry tonight, and then we'll see what happens at the end of the day. I'm hoping for good things. I mean, it's kind of a gray day outside, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace. I've been playing the first Uncharted, and I figured I might as well get a little bit of gaming in before I headed out to church. The game's a lot of fun outside of some moments where Nathan will grab literally anything but the side you were trying to grab onto. But still, good game. So this video is actually a follow-up to my Thanksgiving video, where it's important to remember the importance of Thanksgiving while also remembering to embrace the slow of autumn, because we're so eager to hop from Halloween to Christmas that it feels like we really want to just ignore the month of November and just get to the next big holiday that makes us happy. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to get to something that makes you happy, obviously, but the reason I wanted to bring this up is because how often do we all just forget that we need to slow down? I think a lot, because I hear a lot of people talk about how ever since the COVID lockdown, time has just been going faster and faster and faster. And I do believe there is some truth to that, because everyone was locked up for some people, maybe even year and a half, nearly 2 years. And it's just hard to comprehend that being locked up for that long, not being able to really go out and socialize, and then we're all just on our phones scrolling all the time. Having instant gratification like that really screws up the brain's concept of time and time passing. Because how often do we actually take the moments to just be kind of in the moment, just kind of relaxing, resting, being just a part of the world? We're so busy scrolling our phones, trying to get those quick dopamine releases, that we sometimes forget to just sit down and embrace the slow of the world. And people talk about things like, oh, time flies, like I was blank then, now I'm blank now. And we have to remember that currently we are so fixed on making sure we are always getting satisfaction. I mean, we got TikTok, we got YouTube, we got Netflix, we got Hulu, we got instant satisfaction whenever we want it. And don't get me wrong, I use TikTok, I use YouTube, I use Amazon Prime for movies and things like that. So I do fall into these traps too. But we all have to remember that it is important for us to just kind of be for a little bit, putting the phones down, just kind of embracing the slow, swapping out phone conversations with actual conversations. Maybe not even scrolling through a phone or watching a movie to get entertainment, but reading a book or just sitting down in the darkness. It doesn't have to be the darkness, but maybe with like a little light on the side, and you're just listening to some calming music and just letting the world take you for a minute. We are so fixated on getting to the next point that we forget to sometimes just sit and let it and just be. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of that also comes down to we all have to work those jobs, right? We all have to go to school, and when we're not in those jobs, that sometimes these jobs are just unfulfilling for people, and they just want to get those dopamine releases that help them feel relieved for the rest of the day, because, you know, like I said, jobs can be unfulfilling, jobs can be stressful, jobs can be boring, jobs can be anger inducing. So if we now have these ways to instantly get that dopamine release, and I think that does a little bit more harm than good, because yeah, we're entertained for a little bit, but it just absorbs so much time, because, you know, a TikTok is what? Normally a minute tops. But then it's like you keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours go by. You did nothing. Now this isn't a video about saying like you can be using that time to achieve something greater. That's a whole different conversation. This is just the concept of, instead of needing those quick pieces of entertainment and amusement, just take the time to maybe just go on a walk in nature, go on a walk around your block, take a stroll through the city. There's other things to do. Really let life slow down, because we only get this one roll of film, and once it's done, there are no second takes. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, because I don't want my one roll of film to be just full of moments of me just being at work, scrolling through my phone, being at work, watching a video, being at work, goofing off, or getting instant satisfaction. We unfortunately don't get to rewatch our movie and make edits once our time is up. But our time on this earth is very temporary. Our eternal life is obviously forever. But our time here, it's not that long. And when we are so focused on just constantly being entertained over and over and over again, getting those quick little hits of dopamine, and forgetting to just stop for a few minutes and letting the world do its thing. Because I was watching this video about the history of Halloween, and one thing he actually brought up was it was very boring back then. You know, they didn't have, you know, cell phones or anything like that to like just easily entertain yourself. They didn't have TV. You couldn't watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles whenever you wanted to. So they would find reasons to party. But those parties then meant something, because those were the moments of socializing. Those were the moments of entertainment. Now it's like, if you want to play a video game, you play it with a bunch of strangers that you probably don't even know. And there's nothing wrong with multiplayer online games. I've played them before. I don't really anymore, because I prefer single player games. That's just more my thing. But not having those friends over to play golf with your friends or what have you, I'm bringing that up because I was watching an AI video of the presidents playing that. Like, I really want to have those moments where I am hanging out with my friends, and we have those every now and again. Every now and again, our friends from church come over and we play Jackbox, and it's always a lot of fun. Really, moments like that cannot be truly replicated in an online match. Not at least not in my opinion. Maybe for some people it can be, but those moments when you actually get to enjoy time with your friends face to face as opposed to just through a screen, it actually feels, it's one of those moments where, like I said, it might have something to do with how a lot of our enjoyment now is so quick, or we can get it so quick that when we have those moments that we can share in person with our friends, time does seem to slow down a bit, even if we are having the time of our lives or we're having a lot of fun. Those moments, time feels like it is actually slowing down, and honestly, I wish we had more of that. Because like I said, this is only one roll of film, and we can't waste it. Anyways, I'm gonna call it for the night. I gotta make supper, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.